Okay, welcome to the midterm practice overview / marking. The intention here is to make me go through it so that you can see how it's done to make sure you did it right. And also to have you, I guess, see if there's certain areas that you go like, oh, I need to study this. So this one is all the connection methods, every single one. And I give you a setup and you have to do it. I'll go through the methods, of course, and write them in, and I'm going to use red pen. So if I make a mistake, it's going to be obvious. Sorry. But I think one thing that's not accounted for when we do these is how good are you at spelling chords and keys, and how good are you at notating them and remembering things in addition to the methods. So the first thing about this practice thing is it's all in minor keys. So you'll get lots of help there. I think that's the weakest keys that we have is the minor ones. So that will help you. Anyhow, resolve each chord using indicated connection method. These are the same chords. They're all D minor chords in the key of D minor. And so I'll grab some glasses so I can see a little better. All right. This one says contrary motion voice exchange, similar motion voice exchange, and move with soprano. I guess I could do them in order, but you don't have to do them in order. If you've got them in your head to do move with soprano and then this, you could do them any way you want. Anyhow, here we go. Contrary motion voice exchange, soprano and tenor. Exchange pitches. D goes to A goes to D. Right? Alto does nothing, and bass does nothing. Like that. Similar motion voice exchange. The soprano and the altos change pitches, moving in similar or the same direction. So D goes down to F, F goes down to D, A does nothing and does nothing. With these two voices that are not involved in the exchange do nothing. Okay. Move with soprano. Soprano moves down to the next chord tone. All the other notes in the chord except the bass do the same thing in the same direction. Bass stays the same. Right. Connection methods for chords that are a fourth or a fifth apart. Complexity adds up here because you have to determine what these chords are and spell them correctly. Okay. Also, well, I'll get into it. So common tone. So I'm going from 5 to 1. I'm in the key of B minor. That means I'm looking for a B minor chord. I don't have to do this for myself, but for you, I would suggest you definitely write in your notes so that you can think of them and check them off when you at the end to make sure you did it right. So root goes to root as always, stems down. Okay. Common tone is the F sharp, holds over. And then the other two notes move by step in the same direction. So I've got a B taken care of in my F sharp. I need another B and I need a D. Now this can go to B or D, but this one can only go to B right there. Right? So there's my other B and then it's D. If you go in the wrong direction, you'll end up with a note that's not part of the chord, and you catch that in the check. Okay. Still in the key of B minor. This is subtonic 7, lowered 7 degree, and it's major, right? So that means it's not A sharp diminished, it's A major. And it's going to go my 3 chord, which in this key is a D chord. This might be the spot where some of you go like, I am not fast at that. And you know, this all gets easier and more fun and useful when you get better at those core things. So, never give up on the idea of fundamentals. They fuel everything. Okay. This is going to be a D chord. We want a D, D, an F sharp, and an A when we're done. Right. So we're going to go root to root like that. We're going to find the third of the chord leaping to the third of the next chord. And the third of the chord is the C. And it usually leaps by a fourth, which means it's going to go to this note right there, which is right there, right? Sharps in the key signature, we don't have to do anything about it. The common tone holds over like that right there. And then the last note, so we've got a D, we've got an F sharp, we got our common tone. Last note moves by step to fill out what we need from the chord. It could go up to the F sharp, but then we have 2 F sharps and a D and an A. That's not what we want. We want it to come down, so we have D, D, F sharp, and A. If you had jumped this down to here, then you'll have too big a gap of an octave, right? And so if you're wondering why you got it different from what I did, there's that. This is very high for the tenors, but it is singable. La, 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 la. It's pretty high. have to, you know, be warmed up for that. All right, anyhow, not common tone. Not common tone is like move with soprano, but for different chords, meaning that you go from this chord to this chord and all the upper voices move in the same direction to the next chord tone in the new chord, as opposed to the old chords for that one there. This is a tricky question because 7 diminished as opposed to 7 subtonic is a diminished chord, and that's going to need an accidental. There's one right there. Okay. Root goes to root, A sharp. Here's where you may have made a mistake because it also needs an accidental, even though this one has one. Accidentals do not travel outside of their clef and outside of their octave. So maybe you made a clerical error right there. Okay. And then this is my A sharp, C sharp, and E that I need. Got my 2 A sharps. This is going to come down, not hold over because it's not common tone. Come down to the next note in the chord, which is C sharp. Sharp's already in the key signature. This guy's going to come down to the E right there. And we check our work. We have a C sharp, we have an E, we have our 2 A sharps. Funny thing you'll learn later is that we don't actually double note number 7 T in the scale. And we'll have to do something different in practical use if we ever run into these chords, but as a method, it works just fine. Okay. Bass step, 2 versions of them. Bass step is whatever direction the bass is stepping in, the other notes go in the opposite direction, so you don't get parallel 8ths and parallel 5ths and things like that. We're in the key of C minor. The 3 chord is E flat. The 4 chord is F. Going to want F, A flat, C, and probably another F right there. And so this guy comes down to the A flat, right? This guy comes down to the C, girl, I guess, guy, could be a guy, could be a girl, right? And there, like that, F, 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 A flat, and C, they're all there. Now, this is the exception. Remember, there's exceptions to this bass step, everything come down, which is when you go 5 to 6, T can go up. And if your T is in the upper voice, it has to go up. And if your T is in the minor key, then it has to go up, even if it's not in the soprano. You can always move it up. In major, you can move it down if it's not in the soprano. This is in the minor, it's going to go up. It's also in the soprano, it's going to go up, which means we do the same thing. All notes move opposite the bass step, so these guys are going to come down, except that one there has to go up, right? So this is an A flat chord, A flat, C, E flat. Because we're breaking the rules, we're not going to end up with doubled root, we're going to end up with doubled C. We'll see that in a minute, okay? So this comes down to the E flat right there. This comes down to the C like that right there. And this one right here is T, right? Key of C, B natural. It's got to go up. And we end up with 2 C's and an A flat and an E flat right there like that, okay? All right. This says super common tone with a sneaky, tricky element. Super common tone is you find the 2 common tones and you hold them over. Root goes through it, and the last note moves by step to fill out the chord. We're in the key of F minor. The 3 chord is A flat. The 5 chord is C, right? And here's the tricky part right there. That's got to be raised, right? G. We want probably 2 of those. So we go root to root, A flat to C. There's one of those. We find the 2 common tones, which is the C. And this E flat here is going to hold over, except we got to put that in there. And that's my super tricky element to see if you're paying attention to your 5 chords. Okay. And then this guy just moves by step to fill that out right there. And we're done, page 1.